Howdy peeps, welcome back to what I think is part 3 of my Spitfire build series. Now so far what we've done is we've got the the main cockpit internals put together, the fuselage halves chopped off the sprues, cleaned up and a couple of little bits added to those, and as promised I have primed everything with the UMP Ultimate Black Primer, and I've given it a base coat of, where was it? I think it was the, I tidied up and I can't find anything again, what a surprise. It was the Vallejo Model Air Interior Green. May not be the correct shade of green, but meh, close enough. Well, for me anyway. So let's have a look, see what we got next on the agenda. As you can see, lots of little bits and quite a bit of painting to do. So if I zoom us in a little bit, so you might be able to actually see some of what I'm doing, and if I move that back that away to about there, I know if I'm over the cutting mat I'm in shot. So what to start with? Well, there's not really much to do on that cockpit half or fuselage half. This one we got a couple of little bits to pick out in black and silver, but it's going to be the side walls, bulkheads and seat and controls that are going to need the most. So let's grab a little palette and start out with this side wall. I'll move the other bits slightly out of the way. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. Someone's shouting at me probably. Turn the extra light on. I'm getting there, I'm getting there. Oh, cable's all tangled up. Oh, now I can't find the plug socket. There we go. Ka-ching, extra light. Okay, now as I'm not entirely familiar with what all these colour callouts actually are, let's find out. 33 is black, I know that. What's 11? Light grey, okay. That's easy enough to do, as I happen to have a black sat here already. Let's get a couple of small drops of black, and a brush, and double check which parts we have to paint in which colour. Which is this little panel here. Weird angles to be painting. This is always the problem with trying to do things on camera, is you're not necessarily working at the best angle for yourself, or the angle that you would normally work at. And the shadows get in the way, and there's this little one here as well. So, what day is it today? Oh, it's Boxing Day, day after Christmas, so I hope everyone had a good time, got what they wanted. Plenty of kits, plenty of enjoyment, and not too bad a hangover or bellyache from eating or drinking too much. I know I certainly ate too much yesterday, but hey, I'm greedy anyway at the best of times, so I tend to eat too fast as well. So the food is still going down. By the time my stomach sends back the I'm full signal, there's probably about another ½ kilo of food on the way down to it. Right, so next is a light grey for the bottles, whatever they're bottles of. Let's find a light grey. That'll do. As always, a quick shake up, and this one's just literally just light grey. So this is the two bottles. I'm not entirely sure what they're bottles for. I'd assume oxygen or some such. Might be fire extinguishers, I don't know. My knowledge of the inside of aeroplanes is pretty minimal. I think my knowledge of the outside of them isn't too great, so perhaps if I stuck to building and painting one kind of subject, I would develop a more a fuller knowledge of that subject. But and this is a Kardashian size butt, I would get bored so quickly. Even if it was just limiting myself to just planes or just tanks, rather than, for example, just Spitfires or just Tiger tanks, I would be bored stiff, and I would stop enjoying the hobby. So I like to mix and match and do all sorts of different stuff. Now this side, what do we have to paint black this side? Just the control and that little panel there. Yes, sucking my brush again. So that. The thing with this is I will and I am painting and detailing, painting and doing slight weathering etc. inside the cockpit, but as is the usual case, once the canopy goes on and the fuselage halves go together, you'll lose most of it, and as soon as the canopy goes on, you'll lose the rest of it. You might just about be able to see the seat and the control panel, but that's about it. But it's, you know, it's all part of the hobby. It's all good to do. That's why I'm not being overly careful. And although it doesn't say to paint that grey, I'm going to, just to break up the colours a little more. So that's that. Now, what colours is the seat? That's the question. 81 and 33. 33 is black. So what is 81? Russet. That's a real lot of help. So by russet, I'm going to go with a kind of ready, well, kind of browny-ish sort of colour. Which this will be close enough. Khaki brown. Is it the entire bottom of the seat? Yes, it is. And I know from experience this paint normally takes a couple of layers, so blob plenty out. Right, so I do hope you can actually see what I'm doing here, although I'm sure the majority of you know how to wield a paintbrush and put paint on a model. It's not the trickiest of things to do. Well, it can be. It all depends on how precise you're trying to be and what kind of level of detail. So what I will be doing for these build series is I'll be pretty much keeping them fairly basic. I won't be going whole hog and adding a butt ton of scratch building and extra wiring and carefully painting in each individual switch or rivet or bolt or anything like that. Most of the effects are basic, simple stuff to do. Nothing OTT or tricky. So the only thing with this is it just depends how shaky your hands are. And as I'm pretty much running on pure caffeine at the moment, my hands aren't exactly steady. Although fortunately for now it seems like the shake has left my hands and has migrated to my legs, which is a bit strange, but hey ho. Let's just get the brown out of the brush. And the seat back in black. Now you notice I'm starting this big black splat in the wrong place. Told you my hands were shaking. I'm starting from on the same side that I started painting the browns, so that it's had a bit of a chance to dry and I'm not just going to end up mixing black and brown on the back of the seat. So I can at least try and keep a fairly straight delineation between the two. I also do the top of the control stick. And time for some silver, I think. Ooh, what's the first one we find? Acero steel. That'll do. Doesn't need to be the correct shade of metal. Because on things like this, if someone can pick out that you've used steel when it should be aluminium, then yeah, they've got a problem. Right. So, yeah. So I've been doing quite a bit of filming the last couple of days. I've actually got time off work. Wow. A little bit of silver just so that rudder pedals, even though again they're just not going to be visible once it's assembled, just to add a little extra detail. And we'll do the seat adjustment stuff, I think that is. There we go. And the little blob, this little lump on the control stick, which I'm assuming is the firing button for the MGs. Just so it's easy to pick it out in red in a mo. So, was there anything else on this? Not hugely. Anything on that? No. So, it's the inside of the fuselage halves. I think it was literally just on this side. Oh, my brush point's gone all weird. The brush is getting a bit old, bless it. It's had quite a bit of abuse. Not least me accidentally dunking it in super glue the other day. I had a piece of tape with some super glue on the mat, and I also had a razor blade with paint on it, and I dipped it in the wrong one. Bit of acetone soon got it out though, and a surprising amount of extra muck as well came out of it. But hey, I've done quite a lot of models with this brush now. And so they're not expensive brushes, so I don't expect them to last forever. Right. Brown's still not quite dry, so we won't go for the second coat on that yet. We can give the grey a second coat on these bottles though, to improve the depth. It's looking a bit patchy. Oh, there goes my stomach grumbling away. Right. So that's our basic painting for the inside of the cockpit done. Now I'm going to have to switch to a smaller brush. Let's grab one of my little 5-0s. And the geek goggles. Oh, they could do with the dust. I ain't going to be able to see much through those, they're filthy. There's probably about, oh god, I don't know, a good few models worth of dust build up on those. Right. And this is where you will probably get a shot of the top of my head as I lean in close to try and paint the dials in on the instrument panel. Now I know they're not supposed to be white, but oh dear, let's go. This is going to be tricky to do on camera, especially get close enough to get the focal length right. There we go, I can see just. Because this Model L white is so thin, I'm pretty much just letting it run around rather than actually painting the dials. And because of the angle I'm at, every time I breathe out, my optivisor's fogging up. Yay! We'll get there though. Yes, quick brush lick just to improve the point. Almost done, just a few more to go. That'll do. And yes, filthy habit. Let's get that off before it gives me a skull ache. So next step, oh, check on the time. Not too bad. Find the right colour wash now that I want. It's going to be a, there it is. Well, I say wash, I mean shade. I better not let go of this or I'll be throwing shade. Right, it's just the Citadel Athonian Camo shade, which is basically just a very thin dark green wash. So, back with our larger brush. Get it so you pick some wash up, might help. And we use this pretty much to pick out all the, like you normally would with a wash on the outside of a vehicle. Also being acrylic on a uncovered acrylic paint, as soon as it starts to dry it's totally unremovable. We're just looking to break up the colour slightly and add some definition to the details. We're not necessarily looking to, I say we, I mean me, the royal we, just giving some variance rather than a specific tonal wash. So when I come back and dry brush it, that will pick out all the details. Again, remembering to make sure I'm actually in camera shot. So I'll do all this even though it's all going to be hidden behind the seat, because you never know. Right, that is all covered up. We'll just do the back side of this, just so it doesn't stand out as a different colour to the rest of the cockpit. So you can probably hear my legs shaking. Right, that's that one done. Again, so the trick with these kind of washes is to not let them pool up on flat areas. You want them to pool up in the recesses and the detail to give you the definition. If you let them pool up on a flat surface, then doing that has its uses. If you want something to look oily and grimy, then using the Nuln oil, but letting that puddle up will look like oil leaks and drips and splats. Something like this, we don't really want that effect. Oh, nearly knocked it over. That would have been a funny one, wouldn't it? Oh, my Sharpie spilt a load of green wash all over his cutting mat. just because I'm not entirely sure where the front and the rear of the cockpit will end and what will be visible. I'll go a bit past where I think it should be, just in case. Pretty sure the sidewalls come up to that line there, and then the instrument panel, etc., comes across here, and any front bulkheads and stuff. Now, to be a little more precise here, because we have multiple colours, we don't want to be getting the greenwash on the khaki brown or the silver if we can help it. That'll do the trick. We can put some on this backing part of the seat, that might help disguise a big black splat where I missed. Oh, and the control stick as well, don't forget that. There we are. Right, wash out the brush and think about what we're doing next. Right, well, the white should be dry on all the dial faces, so I shall see if I can find a little dry brush. Nice flat brush, it's semi-decent bristle. That'll do. It's a bit worn and mullered, but we can get away with it. So just tiny bit, scrub it all out on the kitchen paper off to the side. Start on an area that isn't going to be too visible to make sure there isn't too much on there. Now remember, the thing with dry brushing is you can always add more. So this is just to pick out the detail really on the control panel, or instrument panel. Now, if we aren't careful, it is quite easy to just end up painting the whole thing silver. What this does, it also helps, because with everything flat black, it's actually quite tricky to see where the dial surrounds or any switches actually are. Now, do I know? I'll be right. Now comes the really tricky bit, and you probably will just get a shot of the back of my head for this, I'm afraid. Because I will be, and I'm going to put my light on as well on my optivisor, which is shining not where I'm looking. Thank you, that's better. You've got to get real close. I'm not sure whether my eyes are wonky or whether, yeah, my eyes aren't focusing properly. Never mind. I know roughly where to wipe the brush. Ooh. Oh yeah. It is. It's my eyes, not the optivisor. Let's try that without and see if I'm any better off. Ooh. Ah, that's better. Just look over the top of my glasses, I can see so much better. So if you can't actually see what I'm doing, I'm just picking out all the dial edges in silver. Again, I know it's probably not accurate. I think the actual dial faces would probably have been in black, and the surrounds may have been in white or blue or red or whatever to signify whichever thing they were, but hey ho. The alternative to this is to actually just use the decal, but there will be plenty of decaling later on in this build, so I thought I would just show a rough and ready way of doing an instrument panel. There we go. And once that's dried, I think we're ready for yep, we're ready for another coat of brown. Oh, but we've somehow got the half an hour, so I shall add the extra coat of brown, maybe do a little bit of washing on the seat and stuff like that. Then I'll probably either get a real light green, or maybe mix the green and the silver, or just use the silver and give everything a light dry brush. Much the same as I've done on the instrument panel. Just to, again, pick out the detail and make everything stand out a bit better. Also, you can call it chipping. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. If you really liked it, you can subscribe if you haven't already. What's that thing with if you tap the bell icon, then it will tell you every time I upload a video, but nah, do you really want to know? Anyway, enjoy your modelling, peace out, rock on, and bye bye.